So we're looking at how you can accurately guess what the speed limit of a road is. Now this is exceptionally useful for your driving test when the nerves are high, the pressure's really high, and you've completely lost track of what the speed limit on a road is. This is also really useful if you're in a new area where you've never driven before and you haven't got a clue what speed you should be going. Now this works in 99% of situations. There's always the 1% that it won't work for, but they're so few and far between, this is the best thing you're gonna get. So you need to stick to 2 rules. Rule 1, if you haven't seen a speed limit and there are street lights, you need to stick to 30 miles per hour. Stay at 30 miles per hour for 10 to 15 seconds until you see a speed sign. Now the speed signs are called repeaters. These are the smaller ones that are normally on the street lights. This shows the continuation of a speed zone. If you see 2 larger signs with speed limits on, this is a new zone. If you see a speed sign that is different from the 30 miles per hour that you were assuming, then you may end up with a minor on your driving test. However, if you assume anything else but 30, such as 40 or 50, and it is a 30 zone, you will automatically fail your driving test. So always stick with the 30 if you see street lights. Really important. Now you may find lots of suburban areas such as this do not actually have any signs at all from one end of the road to the other. Always make the assumption that this is 30 because that's what the speed limit is going to be. Don't ask me why they don't have signs everywhere. I am not too sure, but it is just a fact. They do not. Now, if the road you're going down does not have any street lights, your next assumption is that it's national speed limit. This means if it's a single carriageway road, that is up to 60 miles per hour. If it's a dual carriageway road having 2 separate roads, this is 70 miles per hour. Now, it is again really important that you are aware of this because if you continue down a national speed limit road that's really clear and safe to make good progress on at 30 or 40 miles an hour, you may very well end up failing your driving test. If it is a clear, safe road to make some decent progress on, they would expect you to be around the 50 mark at least, but only if it's safe. And this can often be very challenging, especially on those more country, rural areas that are all national speed limit. Now, when you're on your driving test, if you do have a sat-nav in the car, you can try and use that as a bit of guidance. But as an example here, the sat-nav actually says it's 60 miles per hour when actually the road is 30 miles per hour. So do not take it for gospel. Now for a couple of examples. Now this road, as you can see, it's quite a busy road. There's lots of houses, but the main thing is there are street lights. That's all we really can care about. That's all we're concerned with. So I'm going to assume it's 30 miles per hour because I can't see a speed sign. Now this is the typical sort of housing area that has got the street lights that you would assume is a 30 miles per hour sort of zone. Okay, now we're going down a bit more of a main road. There are still street lights, there's houses on both sides, but it's nice and clear to make progress. I still can't see a speed sign, so I assume again it's 30 miles per hour because of street lights. Simple as that. So I would continue down this road at 30 miles per hour until I saw a speed sign or something that says otherwise. Otherwise, I'm going to risk failing my driving test and speeding, which would be dangerous and stinky. Now again, I'm going down another road that has got no speed signs at all, but there are street lights only on one side of the road, but I'm going to assume that it's 30 because that's the safest option I can go with. And there you go, there's the first speed sign on the left there, just showing that it is actually a 30 mile an hour zone, and that's the first one I've seen 3/4 of the way down the road. Now I don't know if you can see it here, but going up this hill, there is a speed sign for 40 miles per hour, but the sat-nav actually says 60 miles an hour, so it's really important we are not fully reliant on the sat-nav, and this method that I'm teaching you is far more accurate than actually following the sat-nav. Now, let's say I was on my driving test, I'm coming to a roundabout, and this often happens. I come to the roundabout, I know this area was 40, okay, but then I get on the roundabout, I've lost attention for a second because I'm so focused on the other cars and everything else that I haven't looked for a speed sign. Not that there is one, okay? There actually isn't a speed sign here at all. So I've missed the speed sign. A lot of people then assume that it's a 30 mile an hour zone, or they forget what the speed is, or they think the speed limit might have changed. So again, I'm going to assume that it's 30 miles an hour because there's street lights, and that's the best option I've got to go with. Okay, now I said go at 30 for about 10 to 15 seconds, and sure enough, on the left, we can now see a 40 sign attached to the lamppost. So I check my mirrors and I just gently speed back up to the 40 speed. As I said, this might have cost me a minor on my driving test, but I haven't failed. Okay, so now I'm entering into a new road and there's actually a 40 sign on the left there. So there is a 40 sign. However, being a learner and being quite new, okay, I'm really nervous. I'm on my driving test. I've missed the sign. I've completely missed the sign. I haven't got a clue what the speed is. What am I going to choose? Well, what have I got to base this on? I've got street lights. There are street lights. Street lights, I'm going to assume it's 30 miles an hour. Now the examiner's sitting there looking at me thinking, why is this guy going 30 miles an hour? It's a 40 zone, come on, speed it up. But I'm not risking it, because if this is a 30 miles an hour and I go to 40, then I failed, okay? So I'm going along at 30 and there we go, 10 to 15 seconds, we have a 40 mile an hour repeater. Now I've speed up to 40, hunky-dory. I'm not gonna speed up to 40 though, because I'm going into a 30 zone now, so that would be silly. However, point being, at worst, that examiner is going to give me a minor for actually going 30 in a 40 zone for a little while, but I'll still pass my driving test. Had I risked it and gone 40 when I hadn't seen a speed sign, I would have failed my driving test instantly. So I'm also going to talk to you about how to safely drive on a national speed limit rural road. You know, what would they actually expect? Now this one here is a little bit of a pig, and it happens quite a lot. You have two signs here that as you enter the road to show it's a national speed limit road. But again, I'm on my driving test, I'm really nervous, I've completely missed those. I'm now in this situation where I'm driving down the road, there's no street lights, there's no speed sign, there's not even lines on the road. So what am I going to assume? Well, we have two rules. We have street lights equals 30 miles per hour, or we have no street lights equals national speed limit. Well, I can't see any street lights, so the first assumption there is national speed limit. I am on sat-nav as well though, so I'm going to check that. Extra information from the sat-nav does also say 60 miles per hour, so it is a national speed limit road. Is it safe to go national speed limit? I don't know. I don't think it's that national. I definitely don't think it's a 60 road in these areas anyway, so I'm going to stick to around the 40 mark. There's also no line down the middle and I can't see around the corners, so I think the 40 at the moment is pretty safe. As you can see down here, the road's really opened up. You can see all the way down, so this to me means I can make decent progress. I know the speed limit is 60 miles per hour. It's not too bumpy, so I am actually doing about 55 miles per hour now, and it seems nice and safe and clear. However, I can see a sneaky warning sign on the left hidden by the trees, which says there's a double bend. So I can see a bend in the distance. I'm just going to whack the brake on gently before I get to the bend and maybe drop it into third gear so I'm not going too fast for this first bend, because I don't actually know how bendy it is. Now again, at this part, this is still a national speed limit road. There are no street lights at all, but would it be safe to go national speed limit? No, it would not. So this is what you've got to be careful of and really assess. If you can see a corner or a bend, but you can't see round the corner or the bend, chances are it is not a good idea to be going 60 miles an hour into it. This corner, for instance, I'm going around here, safe around 23. I'm going 23 miles per hour. And I'm really hugging the outside in case a lorry or a van comes. I need to be able to make sure that they can get around as well safely. And again, we've got an unusual sign here that you don't often see, but it shows a very sharp bend to the left. Now it's still a continuous road, so I don't need to signal, but I do need to be going at a safe speed. This is still a national speed limit road. However, that corner needs to be around 12 miles per hour. Now, as we can see, I'm driving to the end of the road. There is 40 speed limit signs. However, I've not paid attention to those. All I'm seeing is this massive hill. Because I'm a learner and I'm a bit panicky, that's all I'm seeing, and I'm seeing a stop sign, and I know I'm turning left, and I don't want to stall, so I'm just sorting this hill out. I'm looking, it's clear. It's a 40 mile per hour road, so I need to make sure it's really clear because they're going to be going 40 miles per hour. Don't know what the speed limit is. I could see street lights, so I'm assuming it's 30. Assuming it's 30 for 10 to 15 seconds, and then I look in the distance and it says 50. So even if I carry on doing 30, because that's a new zone, until I get to there, and then I speed up, perfect, no problem there at all, no issues with your test, all good, haven't taken any risks.